Nothing But the Words, episode number 126. Write Your Book Faster with Writing Dates. Hey there, and welcome to Nothing But the Words. I'm your book coach, Candace L. Davis. I hope your week and your writing are both going really, really well. At this point in my life and my writing career, I have no patience for shortcuts, and I'm very suspicious of any kind of hacks that people want to offer me. But years back, I did go through a phase in my life when I tried all kinds of productivity hacks. This was back when I was first launching my own business. I wanted it to be easy and I wanted to be fast. For the most part, the science-backed strategies worked, right? Maybe they only worked for me for a limited time, but that was more me than the strategy. And the so-called hacks, which might have worked for a very short while, and for some people and to some degree, really failed me over the long haul. However, there is one strategy I have used to write more and write more consistently that has served me well for over 20 years. Let me tell you what it is. I would say this is a proven strategy. And yes, it is also backed by science, although I did not know that when I first started. When I first started writing, I took writing classes and joined workshops and hired mentors, all the things you do when you're trying to learn a new skill and really develop that skill. All of those investments served me well, and I am indebted to those brilliant people, including Luella Nelson, Barbara DeMarco Barrett, Mary Rayco, Janet Fitch, and others whose names I apologize for not remembering or including here. They gave me space to learn the mechanics and art of masterful writing and storytelling. Those mentors and teachers provided me with feedback and critique so I could develop my strengths and shore up my weaknesses. And as a side note, this was always so crazy to me. One of my mentors suggested we just ignore our weaknesses and focus on our strengths. I just did not have that in me. It worked very well for her, though, but that was her suggestion. Don't worry about the weaknesses, just develop your strengths. So I was getting tons of valuable knowledge and real wisdom from these very accomplished authors and teachers. And I was doing a lot of reading and having great conversations about books and writing. But when it came time to write, to do the actual writing, I was on my own. Now, don't get me wrong, as a true introvert, I love the solitary nature of writing. I really do. I dig it. So it wasn't hard for me. And it wasn't hard for me to develop a writing habit because in those early years, I had the luxury of controlling my time. Like I was in charge of my own time. So I managed to write consistently and to keep writing. Now, when a friend invited me on a writing date, uh, I did not get it. I didn't know what she was talking about. What was the point? I wondered. We were sitting in a coffee shop together and just writing, and we could both be doing that at home without having to leave our houses or put on real clothes or any of that. So I did it because I like her and I wanted to support her. But after we talked a bit and about our work, we dove in, right? We dove into our works in progress. And I was surprised to find that at the end of our writing session, I had actually been more productive than I usually was on my own. I had more words on the page, and that was cool. Not a lot more, somewhat more than I would normally write in that time. But more importantly, it had also felt easier. I had gotten into the flow faster and stayed there longer with our writing date. Later, not much later, when I met the man who would become my current husband and discovered he was also a writer, I started inviting him on writing dates. He thought I was crazy, but I enjoyed that we could go to a coffee shop and just write together. When I moved to a new city, which is Atlanta, where I live now, I found a woman who was hosting writing dates online. It worked so well for me that every time I had the opportunity, I took it up again. In my group coaching program, Authors Ignited, we have writing dates every week, sometimes multiple times a week. This is all done via Zoom, and on our Zoom calls, it's not a coaching call. I'm there to coach anyone who gets stuck and to help my clients talk through their ideas and make decisions. So we have a few minutes of that, and of course, they can always hit me up in the chat. There's huge value in that. However, there's also huge value in just writing together. So we have dedicated coaching calls. where they come in and really ask their questions and we talk through whatever's keeping them stuck or whatever decisions they need to make for their books. We do a little bit of coaching on the co-writing calls, but we really focus on the writing when we get together for co-writing. Now, the value of co-writing is not just my personal opinion, which I value too, but it's not certainly not authoritative in a scientific way. A study by the Journal of Labor Economics found that working in the presence of at least one other person actually improved performance by 16 to 32%. And this wasn't focused on writing, this was just working in proximity with other people without collaborating, without competing, just being in the same environment proved to create the highest performance. That's interesting, right? Especially with so many of us working remotely now. Whether the people who use them or not know it, this is why we often get more work done in a co-writing space. It's why you see co-writing groups popping up online. They're whole businesses that just offer co-writing sessions, not even co-writing, co-working. You can absolutely get some of these same benefits from just getting up to go write in a coffee shop. When I feel tired or bored, I pack up my laptop and head to a coffee shop to write. It almost always shakes me up and gets me writing if I was stuck. But an organized writing date has some additional advantages. Number one, it's regularly scheduled, right? The environment is controlled, whereas with a coffee shop, you get what you get. A good coach or facilitator for your co-writing date will make sure your session does not devolve into chit-chat, which can be fun, but not super productive. And if you have arranged your co-writing date properly, you are with people you can get to know so you can support each other in an ongoing fashion. If you have been struggling to finish your book or even to get started with your book or to write as consistently or as productively as you would like, you can always partner with a friend to have regular co-writing dates on Zoom or in person. Let me give you some ideas for how you can set it up. Here's how you can do it. Decide in advance what you want to write in that co-writing session. That's important because you don't want to waste the first 20 minutes trying to figure out, what do I want to write today? Then share your goal with each other. If you know you want to revise chapter 10, or you know you want to complete this section of your outline, just share it. You might not hit the goal. Sometimes we overestimate what we can actually do, but that's okay. Share your goal with your friend. Then set a timer with whatever preferred writing time you two can agree upon. In a 90-minute session, I like to do a 33-minute writing session and a 45-minute writing session. That allows me time for quick coaching in between if anyone needs it. But if it's just you and a friend writing together, a couple of 40-minute sessions work great. Or you might decide that you prefer to just write straight through. It just depends on the two of you. 90 minutes is usually the maximum in terms of productivity, though. Set your timer and then write until the timer goes off. When you're done, share your progress. Did you hit your goal? Did you not hit your goal? What would you do differently next time? And if you're up for it, you can even read a bit of your work to each other. Now, this is first draft stuff. You're not looking for feedback or critique so much as you're just starting to exercise the muscles required to share your work with the world. It does require a different kind of mindset than many of us have. Keep your writing dates simple and focused, and they really can make a huge difference in the time it takes for you to write your book. And if you want regular writing dates, along with a coach to support you and a process to follow and a community of authors who cheer each other on, we would love to have you in my group coaching program, Authors Ignited. You can find it at authorsignited.com. You can get all the information there that you need to decide if it's the right program for you. And if you join by May 6th, you will be eligible to attend our bonus virtual writing retreat on May 7th. That is going to be amazing. I love those writing retreats. It's a full day of writing together. It's a chance to make significant progress on your book and get some real momentum even if you've struggled a little bit on your own. The retreat is a bonus for Authors Ignited members. So if you want the kind of focused time and support as you write that you can get from a really just a whole day of writing together, we would love to have you join us. Check it out at authorsignited.com. That's all for this week's episode, my friends. I hope you find a way to make writing dates work for you. Thanks for listening to Nothing But the Words. I'm your book coach, Candace L. Davis, and I'll see you next time.